Good morning all, I am Dr. Gio. Today we will study about the sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone is derived from the Greek word sphen, which means a wedge. The bone is wedged between the frontal bone in front and occipital bone behind. The anatomical position of the bone is in such a way that the hypophyseal fossa faces upwards. Okay, this is a hypophyseal fossa. Then there are pterygoid processes which should face downwards, and these are the sphenoid air sinuses. They should be facing forward. Sphenoid is a key bone in the cranial skeleton because it articulates with 8 bones. They are the frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, vomer, zygomatic, palatine and ethmoid. Talking about the shape of the bone, it resembles a bat with its wings stretched out. Now coming to the features, it has a body. So the central part, this is the body, and it has 4 wings, 2 lesser wings, 2 greater wings and 2 pterygoid processes. Coming to the body, it has 6 surfaces: superior surface, inferior surface, anterior surface and posterior surface, along with 2 lateral surfaces. This is a superior surface. It is also called as the cerebral surface. It has following features from anterior to posterior. This area, the smooth area, is called as jugum sphenoidae. It will articulate with the posterior margin of the cribriform plate and is related on each side to gyrus rectus of cerebral hemisphere and olfactory tract. So this is the smooth anterior part. It is the jugum sphenoidae. Behind that you can see the sulcus chiasmaticus. The sulcus chiasmaticus lodges the optic chiasma, and laterally it will lead to optic canal. So you can see the forceps coming through like that. So here you can see the sulcus chiasmaticus. This is the sulcus chiasmaticus and it is leading to optic canal on the lateral part. Then you can see the hypophyseal fossa here. Okay, and here you can see the tuberculum sellae. So just behind the sulcus chiasmaticus you can see the tuberculum sellae. Behind that you will see the hypophyseal fossa which will lodge the pituitary gland. Behind that there is a square shaped bone that is called as dorsum sellae. Dorsum sellae. This dorsum sellae along with the hypophyseal fossa and the tuberculum sellae forms the sella turcica. The superior angles of the dorsum sellae are called as posterior clinoid processes. Here you can see the posterior clinoid processes. Then this is the upper part of the clivus. It slopes behind the dorsum sellae and is formed by the posterior part of body and dorsum sellae. It will support the pons. So here you have seen the posterior clinoid process. These are the middle clinoid process. Okay, and these are the anterior clinoid processes. These are formed by the lesser wing. We will come to that later. Now coming to the other surfaces. So we talked about the superior surface. So we talked about the superior surface. Now coming to the posterior surface. This posterior surface is rough and it will articulate with the basilar part of the occipital bone posteriorly. Okay. Now coming to the anterior and the inferior surface. In the midline of the anterior surface, there is a triangular crust. This is called as a sphenoidal crust. And the midline of the inferior surface, here it is not very prominent, but there will be a triangular spine. Okay, so the inferior surface is marked by a triangular spine. It is called as a sphenoidal rostrum. Sphenoidal rostrum. So here you have the, we will be having the sphenoid crust, and in the inferior surface there will be sphenoid rostrum. Now coming to the lateral surface. So this is the anterior surface, this is the anterior surface, this is the inferior surface, these are the lateral surface. Okay, so you can see it is attached to the greater wing, it is related to the greater wing and also the medial pterygoid plate. So this is a pterygoid process, this is a medial pterygoid plate, this is a lateral pterygoid plate. So you can see it is related to the medial pterygoid plate and the greater wing of the sphenoid. Its upper part, here you can see the upper part is marked by a sulcus called as the carotid sulcus. It will lodge the internal carotid artery and the cavernous sinus. So lateral surface is related to the, it enlarges the internal carotid artery and cavernous sinus in the carotid sulcus. Here a tongue-like projection is seen, that is called as the lingula. This tongue-like projection on the posterior part, this is called as the lingula. It lies just above the pterygoid canal. So this is the pterygoid canal, this is the carotid sulcus, this is the lingula. This lingula lies just above the pterygoid canal. Now we will talk about the sphenoidal air sinuses. So this is the body of the sphenoid. This is the body of the sphenoid. On the inferior surface, you can see the sphenoid air sinuses. Okay, they are air-filled spaces and they are separated by a septum. Okay, so you can see the septum here, and they are rarely symmetrical. So they will be usually asymmetrical, not of the same size. What about the relations? We have already talked about it. Superiorly, there is the optic chiasma and the pituitary gland, and laterally there is the internal carotid artery and the cavernous venous sinuses. Now coming to the greater wing. So this is the greater wing. This is the greater wing. It is 2 in number, okay, on each side. On the right and left side, we have 2 greater wings. Each has 3 surfaces: a cerebral surface, an orbital surface, and a lateral surface. Okay, cerebral surface, orbital surface, and a lateral surface. The cerebral surface is concave, so you can see it is concave, and it forms the part of middle cranial fossa, and it is related to temporal lobe of the cerebrum. It is related to temporal lobe of the cerebrum, and it contains foraminas. Okay, they are important because certain structures are passing through it. I have given it in the PowerPoint, you can read it up. So here you can see the foramen rotundum. Foramen rotundum, which will maxillary nerve will pass through it. Okay, then there is foramen ovale. This is a foramen ovale. The structures passing through foramen ovale are mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and emissary vein. And here it is not complete, the part of bone is gone. So this is the foramen spinosum. It is lateral to the foramen ovale. So foramen ovale is oval shaped. Just lateral to that, this is the foramen spinosum. Through the foramen spinosum, middle meningeal artery and nervus spinosus will pass. Now coming to the lateral surface of the greater wing of sphenoid. So this is a lateral surface, this is a lateral surface. So you can see a crust here. This is called as an infratemporal crust. Okay, this is an infratemporal crust. It will divide it into this lateral surface into a temporal part and an infratemporal part. This upper temporal part is related to temporal fossa and temporalis muscle, and this lower infratemporal part will form the roof of the infratemporal fossa. You can see the opening of the foramen ovale and foramen spinosum. Foramen ovale and the foramen spinosum. So we saw the lateral surface. Here you can see a projection. So this is the anatomical position of sphenoid. So to see the lateral surface, we have gone like this. We have seen the infratemporal crest. We have seen the upper temporal part, lower infratemporal part. Okay. This projection, this is called as a spinosphenoid. Okay. This is a spinosphenoid. The spinosphenoid gives attachment to sphenomandibular ligament and is related to chorda tympani and auditory tube and auriculotemporal nerve. So on the lateral surface you can see the spinosphenoid too. Temporal part, infratemporal part and spinosphenoid. Now coming to the orbital surface. So this is the orbital surface. Okay. Orbital surface. It is quadrilateral in shape. It is quadrilateral in shape. And it forms the posterior part of the lateral wall of the orbit. The upper serrated edge articulates with the orbital plate of the frontal bone. The lateral serrated edge will articulate with the zygomatic bone. The inferior smooth border will form the boundary of inferior orbital fissure. And the medial border, this is a smooth medial border, or it is, you can say that it is very sharp. The sharp medial border will form the boundary of the superior orbital fissure. Superior orbital fissure. Now coming to the lesser wing of the sphenoid. So again we have two lesser wings on each side. It is a triangular bone. Okay, it is a triangular bone extending laterally from the anterosuperior part of the body. So this is the body and it is extending from the anterosuperior part of the body. It has a tip which is the lateral end of the lesser wing and two roots. Okay, there is an anterior root and a posterior root. So here you can see this is the anterior root and the posterior root. So we already said that this is a sulcus chiasmaticus where optic chiasma is there, and on both ends of the sulcus chiasmaticus is the optic canal. So you can see the anterior root and the posterior root forming the optic canal. It is enclosing the optic canal along with the body of the sphenoid. And it will transmit optic nerve and ophthalmic artery. Optic canal will transmit optic nerve and ophthalmic artery. Now coming to the surfaces, there is a superior surface and an inferior surface. Superior surface forms posterior part of the floor of anterior cranial fossa. So it forms part of floor of the anterior cranial fossa. This is the superior surface. The inferior surface, you can see the superior orbital fissure here. So it will form the superior boundary of the superior orbital fissure. Now coming to the borders of the lesser wing, there is an anterior border and then there is a posterior border. This anterior border will articulate with the frontal bone. Okay, frontal bone in front. The posterior border is free. So we have already seen that it is the anterior clinoid process. So anterior clinoid process is formed by the lesser wing. Middle clinoid process is formed by the ends of the tuberculum sellae, and posterior clinoid process is formed by the ends of the dorsum sellae. Now we will talk about the superior orbital fissure. So you can see the superior orbital fissure below the lesser wing of sphenoid. So this is the superior orbital fissure. This is the lesser wing. This is the inferior surface of the lesser wing forming the superior boundary of the superior orbital fissure. medial boundary, that is this. This is formed by the body of the sphenoid. This is the body of the sphenoid. So, the medial boundary is formed by the body of sphenoid, and inferior boundary is formed by the greater wing of the sphenoid, and the apex is formed by the frontal bone. Okay, so it is a triangular shaped fissure or foramen. The structures passing through the superior orbital fissure is given in the PPT. You can read it and you have to study it. Now coming to the pterygoid process. So, pterygoid process seen here on the inferior aspect. Okay. This pterygoid process arises from the junction of the, this is the greater wing of sphenoid, this is the greater wing of sphenoid, this is the body of the sphenoid. So, this is a process which project downwards from the junction between the greater wing of the sphenoid and the body of the sphenoid. It has a medial pterygoid plate and a lateral pterygoid plate. Okay. So, here you can see it more properly. There is a medial pterygoid plate and a lateral pterygoid plate. In between this medial and lateral pterygoid plate is the pterygoid fossa. It's a pterygoid fossa. Now coming to the borders of the pterygoid process. So, this is the pterygoid process. We are coming to the borders of the pterygoid process. The anterior border will articulate with the posterior border, the perpendicular plate of palatine bone, and the posterior border, the upper end will split and forms a scaphoid fossa. So, here is the scaphoid fossa. Okay. So, upper end splits and encloses a scaphoid fossa, and you can see pterygoid tubercle. This is the pterygoid tubercle. It lies immediately below the posterior end of the pterygoid canal. So, this is the posterior end of the pterygoid canal. We have already seen the lingula, tongue-like projection from the body of sphenoid, okay, which lies above the pterygoid canal. Here the pterygoid tubercle lies just below the pterygoid canal, and there is a hook-like process at the lower end of this pterygoid process. In this pterygoid process we can't see it. Here we can actually see it. See, there is a hook-like projection that is called as pterygoid hamulus. Tendon of tensor palatae winds around this process, and superior constrictor and pterygomandibular raphe are also attached to it. The clinical anatomy is given in the PowerPoint presentation, so you have to look up that as well. So that's all about the sphenoid bone. Thank you and have a nice day.